ahead, Jacqui.
Thanks, Karine. Today I asked the president if COVID was still a national emergency, and he said it's a necessity to deal with to make sure it doesn't become one. Is COVID still a national emergency?
It's a necessity to deal with, making sure it doesn't become one.
His answer would suggest that perhaps it's not a national emergency right now. So is it fair to call it a national emergency under the HEROES Act to justify student loan cancellation?
So the student loan cancellation, first and foremost, that was decided by the appropriate agencies. That was the tool that we were going to use to make sure that we give relief to Americans that need it. We should step back for a second and understand why the president took that action when it comes to the student loan. When he came into the office, clearly there were people, Americans who were, having a hard time dealing with the economic situation that the pandemic was causing, right? And we had the former administration who mishandled the COVID, the reaction to COVID, how we would move forward out of COVID. The last administration boggled that, really. There's the student loans. There are people who are really squeezed by the pandemic, and so he wanted to make sure that when we lift up the pause, that we gave people a little bit more breathing room, and that is where the student debt relief comes from. And we understand once that pause is lifted, there's still going to be people who are going to have a difficult time. And so just because we're in a different phase of the pandemic, as the president has said, COVID is still a problem. And so the president was trying to making sure that he didn't leave anyone behind, and making sure that he didn't forget those middle-class families.
I hear what you're saying on all that. I guess my question is there another, perhaps a better mechanism to do that? Because the whole program is caught up now in litigation, and a lot of this legal argument is that it can't be a national emergency because of actions that the administration has taken elsewhere. So I wonder...
So I actually disagree with you. What is happening is there are opponents out there of the student loan debt relief who do not want to give middle-class family a little bit more breathing room. There are opponents out there, many of them are Republicans.
On the national emergency front then, what is the criteria the country would have to meet for it not to be a national emergency, or is that even a goal?
So here's the thing, we cannot forget that COVID is still a problem. We just had Dr. Jacques here talking to all of you. He wanted to be here, and we wanted him to be to all of you because you guys communicate with the American people. And we want that the American people to know that there is a new vaccine out there and they need to get that shot in the arm.
Today I asked the president if COVID was still a national emergency, and he said it's a necessity to deal with to make sure it doesn't become one. Mr. President, is COVID still a national emergency?
It's a necessity to deal with, making sure it doesn't become one.
Do you think it's a mistake in New York to withdraw the vaccine mandate for private employers?
No, I don't think. That's a local judgment. Thank you.
His answer would suggest that perhaps it's not a national emergency right now. So is it fair to call it a national emergency under the HEROES Act to justify student loan cancellation?